All right, we'll be getting this podcast started in just a moment. Apparently, I had a little bit of technical issue there with the camera, so we got it up and running now. So, good morning, everybody. This is Pharmacist Keith with my very first of the Hump Day training calls. We're going to do this call every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The Hump Day call is going to be designed to cover one of the 4 keys to success in network marketing. And on these Hump Day calls, we'll cover various topics related to these 4 keys. Such the 4 keys are inspiration, where we'll discuss finding your inspiration, what inspired you or motivated you to join us in the first place. Key 2 is motivation, learning how to take that inspiration and form a wildly important goal. That's your motivation. Key 3 is determination, taking that wildly important goal and developing a massive action plan for success. The massive action plan is what crystallizes your determination into a roadmap for success by providing you with all the tools that are necessary. And then key 4, perspiration. This is where you finally execute your massive action plan. This is where everything hits the road and gets going. So that's the goal with this webcast and live training call every Wednesday morning, Hump Day call. We're also going to be having a more in-depth training call every Wednesday evening. That will start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And the purpose of that call is to increase your odds of success. I'm not going to be giving tips and ideas. I'm not going to do that. My goal is to teach a very specific system. And there's, a difference between learning a tip and learning an idea or learning a system. And that's where we're going to go into the 8 steps to success in a training system that we've developed, along with the help of Dale Calvert. So anyhow, that's what the afternoon call is going to be, and that will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can go to the website, the team training website, to find out more information about these. It's going to be you can find that information at hangout.aimhighteam.com. That's hangout.aimhighteam.com. So anyhow, let's get on with the today's information. All right, guys, I'm excited that you decided to join. For me personally, network marketing was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And I think you've made an awesome decision by getting involved with this, with us and with this company and with this industry, not because of anything other than trends. And if there's one thing that I've learned over my life, it's wealth is created when the right people get in front of the right trend. And you have to really understand that. Wealth is created when the right people get in front of the right trend at the right time and then just go for it. The thing for me was back in 2007, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm sure many of you have read that same book. That was the first time I read the book. And in that book, Robert introduced me to the concept of leveraged income. Leveraged income. I'd never really understood the concept of leveraged income before I read that book. But just like Robert was told when he was a kid, and just like I'm sure that you were told, and of course I was told this, I was sold on the 40-year plan. I was told to go to school, get good grades, get a job with a good company, work for 40 years, then retire. I'd never been told that there was any other way of doing it. That's the way my parents did it. That's the way my grandparents did it. And I never really was told that there was a better way, that there was an entrepreneurial way to create a life and a lifestyle. That book led me on a journey to discover exactly what is a better way for the average person like myself. My wife and I, we looked at a lot of different things. We looked into rental real estate, and we looked into flipping houses. both of those as an option because Robert Kiyosaki talked a whole lot about real estate. And there were only two problems with real estate investing and with flipping houses. First of all, we didn't have the cash that was needed to do it. We were following the Dave Ramsey principle of financial peace, living with no debt. So leveraging real estate, was using bank loans or whatever wasn't an option for us. And the second thing was that I was already working 60 hours, even as much as 80 hours a week. And I just didn't have the time that it would take to invest in real estate and to fix up houses. We also looked at franchising. Franchising was out for us because franchises can cost anywhere from $10,000 to, in case of McDonald's franchise, over $1 million. And on top of that, when you become a franchise owner, in most cases, you just bought yourself a job. And again, I didn't have any time. I didn't have any money. I was looking for a way out of those long hours. So why would I want to buy myself a job? That's what I was looking to get out of. So we kept looking. In 2009, I came across a CD. Someone that I've gotten to know quite a bit since then sent me a CD. His name was Dale Calvert, and it was called The Business of the 21st Century. And this is where Robert Kiyosaki introduced a concept where an average person like me could move into the entrepreneurial world and to gain financial and time freedom. It basically introduced network marketing as an option, and that changed my life. That CD, it just completely opened up my eyes. It started me on a quest to find a company that could get me the success I wanted. And folks, I looked at 3 to 4 dozen different companies over the next 4 years. I was looking for something that had products that I could stand behind as a pharmacist. I was looking for something that I felt could appeal to the most people. And I was looking for a company that had a leadership team in place and a vision and had experience. And, I actually ended up joining 14 different companies before I finally found my home here at Longevity. Now, all the companies I got involved with, they were great companies. They had excellent products, but I was not there at the right time and I didn't have the right mentor. And ultimately, I never had any success with any of them. Before I found the right company, some other things had to happen in my life that sidetracked me and really clarified what I needed to do. In 2010, 2011, the pharmacist shortage suddenly became a pharmacist surplus as more and more pharmacy schools were being opened. And, we started seeing some of the older pharmacists get let go of their jobs and were being replaced by younger pharmacists right out of school. These guys were willing to work for less money because they had massive student loan debt. And I should have seen it coming, but in 2011, the national chain drugstore that I worked for, they started eliminating pharmacists. And 3 weeks before Christmas, I was let go. I was replaced. And the new graduate I was replaced with had a higher degree. He had a doctorate degree, and he was willing to work for 20 grand less than what I was making. So yeah, I should have seen it coming, but that woke me up. And it didn't take just a few weeks to get another job. It didn't take just a few months. It actually took me 2 years before I finally found another job. So the economy had changed drastically at that point, and that pharmacist shortage was just an overabundance of pharmacists. Well, a year into my unemployment, I got to meet Dr. Wallach. This actually was the second time I met him. And he took me to lunch, and he told me, I told him all about my circumstances. And after a lot of conversation and with his promise to help me and to connect me with the right people, to help me get my business going, I decided to join him. And what I soon found out was I had joined the right company at the right time. For the first time in my life, I was in front of a trend. The company, even though it had been in business at that point 15 years, was starting to build some momentum. Over my first 2 years with the company, they went from a $10 million company to a $100 million company. So I was at the right place at the right time. And they're set to go to $1 billion company sometime in the next few years. That's their goal. So I was able to create enough income to keep from losing my home. I still had a kid in private school when, a year into that unemployment, and we had decided we're going to put our house up for sale. The house that we built with our own blood, sweat, and tears, our dream home, because we'd already ran through all of our savings and everything else, just working temporary part-time pharmacist jobs. So we decided we're going to put our house up for sale. But when I joined Dr. Wallach's company, I was able to create enough income to keep from losing that home. I built up enough of a team that I was able to earn a car bonus. And I finally was able to get rid of that old clunker that I had, and I bought myself a Cadillac CTS, the Dave Ramsey way, without debt. Same person, same skills, same mindsets that I always had, but because of timing, instead of failing miserably like I'd done with the other 14 companies, I was able to buy that car and, more importantly, save my home. And it was all because of timing. So I just can't stress enough for you, especially to you guys that maybe just got started, because it's so cool on the front end. With the Dr. Wallach's 90 for Life message and his story, because of the incredible catalog of hundreds of products that we have that I could stand behind as a pharmacist, because of the leadership team that Dr. Wallach introduced me to, this all gives people with vision an unbelievable opportunity. Dr. Wallach's message is so strong on the front end. This front end, is ultimately what creates the success. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing with Longevity. That's what it's all about. And again, I want to thank you because you made a great decision by joining Longevity. And again, the number one reason is because of category creator. I want you to think about this. In this industry, there's only been a few category creators. A.L. Williams was one of them. A.L. Williams, some of you might remember, was a life insurance company. And he turned the life insurance industry on its ear. At that point, everybody was buying whole life insurance, whole life. Whole life. Prudential, that was their number one product, whole life insurance. And A.L. Williams introduced his common sense message, much like Dr. Wallach and his common sense message on health. But A.L. Williams introduced a common sense message of buy term insurance and invest the rest. They were on the front of Time magazine. They just totally turned the insurance industry upside down. Another category creator was Excel Communications. Once phone service was deregulated, up to that point, everybody had to buy their phone service through AT&T. But Excel Communications came along when phone service was deregulated, and there were a lot of people that did Excel Communications. And of course, I can give you lots of others, but the bottom line is, here at Longevity, we have products that people are going to be buying every day, no matter what. If you really can wrap your mind around that concept, we've got products in 9 of the fastest growing categories. It's beyond anything else, anything that anyone else is doing. Longevity is a very, very unique concept in the marketplace. If you can't do it here, you're not going to be able to do it anywhere else. And again, if you cannot do this, even if they're selling dollar bills for a penny, don't do it. Because if you can't do it with the catalog of products we have, and with Dr. Wallach's message, the category creators, 9 of the top categories in the industry, forget it. We've got to get our minds wrapped around that ourselves. We're not just another deal. My gosh, we're different, and you have to feel it. You have to see it. I feel sorry for people that don't see this. Good people sometimes, they just don't see it. But you have to be willing to tell people, look, you're totally 100% missing the story here. And we're going to get more into this as we continue through our trainings over the next few weeks. So my question is, do you want to fail or do you want to succeed? I tell people, I don't know a lot about a lot of things. I mean, every single one of you've got a talent, you've got a skill, you've got things that you can do that I don't have a clue about. I mean, my sponsor with Longevity was Brandy, and she was a cosmetician. She knows all about skincare and makeup. Folks, I don't know the first thing about cosmetics. Another one of our leaders was Kelly. She's a winning high school basketball coach of the girls' high school basketball. I couldn't teach basketball. I don't know the first thing about the fundamentals of that sport. I love to watch it. Kentucky Wildcats go all the way, but when it comes to coaching it and teaching it, I wouldn't have a clue. Many of you know that, how to play a musical instrument. Maybe you play a piano, or maybe you play the drums. I don't know anything about playing drums. I'm sure I could if I really wanted to. I could learn. I mean, as a kid, I tried to play the accordion when I was young. I took lessons for a couple years. I hated every single second, every single lesson. And the only reason I was doing it was because my mom wanted me to play the accordion. I think she had a vision of me being on the Lawrence Welk show. Now, guys, if you don't know who Lawrence Welk is, I'm sorry. Go ask your parents or your grandparents. But the point is, I didn't have any desire to do it. So what I've seen over the years, after reading dozens and dozens of books on human performance and leadership, spending thousands of hours listening to audio cassettes, CDs, and videos, and webinars and live events, what I found, really studying this industry is if you want to succeed, you've got to plug in, and you've got to get the training and learn the skills that are necessary. So throughout this training, I'm going to more into detail of the 8 steps that people have to follow to be able to create success. I'm going to review some key concepts along the way. And, you're going to succeed long term. It's going to happen. If you plug in and you do it, it's going to happen. So, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen just like that. It didn't do that for me. I mean, guys, the first 3 or 4 years, I failed miserably. Okay. So it's not going to happen like that, but it can happen. So what you need to do is you've got to learn the skills. You've got to plug in. You've got to immerse yourself. I can't, a lot of times I just can't understand how people just, they just want to continue to work for somebody else and not build a residual income. It's just a concept that I just can't fathom now that I know that there is a better way. We all go through that, but the bottom line is I get it. And after spending the first part of most of last year and first part of this year traveling from coast to coast, meeting $1 million income earners and spending hours and hours in training programs, reading dozens of books and attending hours of continuing education, I finally have learned what the 6, 7, 8 things are. I've put it down into basically 8 steps, but what it's really going to do to make a difference, what steps you must follow to make a difference. And this information is what I want to share over these podcasts and over these videos, is what information, what steps, what training, what you have to have success. That's why I put this whole training system together for that purpose, and it's at aimhighteam.com. Now here's the reality of this business. 50% of the people that join any company, 50%, they peak the day they join. That's the height of their career. I'm sure you know some folks like that. It was the height of their career. It's like they make this great business decision, and then they lose it. They win, and they don't do squat. They don't do a single thing. They don't even try to do anything. Then there's 20% that never get plugged in. They never sell themselves on what's going on here. They tried to convince a few friends or family members to join, and then they quit, usually within 90 days. And that's the truth. 20%. They never get plugged in, and they quit. So we're talking about 7 out of 10 people are duds. And folks, if you can't handle that, then this industry is not for you. Because I can tell you right now, all the frustration in the world comes because we cannot get people to do what we want them to do. And when I learned this, that the only person's action that I can control was my own, that everything changed. I don't worry about somebody else. I don't worry about what they can do and what they can't do. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It just doesn't matter. You don't want to deal with thumbsuckers. You're either going to buy their story or they're going to buy yours. Now, 3% of the people, they create financial success immediately. You know, they're the Elvis of their world. And, you know, of course, you always hope to get some of those kinds of folks on your team, but they burn out because they're doing all the work. They're the ones that, you know, without them, the whole thing falls apart. So that's 3% of the people. What you want is the 20%, 27% that's left over. That's the people that get the residual income vision of what's possible. And, you know, probably a lot of you that are on this call right now fall into that category. But the reason people that really never get the vision and they start to understand that they never really get it is because they never really decided to go for it. And 27% of the people that they get it and they decide they want to go for it, and that's the people that we want to target. That's the people we want to train and plug them into a system, because they're the people that's going to build your business. You know, that's 27% is what we're looking for. So I'm going to go off track for just a minute, but the most common denominator that I've seen in this business is when people get it and they go for it. I mean, they just really go for it. They're the ones that create in this industry what's called momentum. And momentum's like a freight train, folks. You know, once those people click and they get it and they start going, then it's Katie bar the door. So when you listen to people give their testimonies and they talk about when they got started and you know how they contacted everybody that they know, you know, they don't dilly-dally around about it. They've got the motivation. They found their reason why. They see the possibilities and they just go for it. I want you to think about an airplane. Does an airplane get off the ground by going 20% throttle? Of course not. What about 50% power? Are they going to get off the ground? No. It takes 100% full throttle to get that plane off the ground and flying. And that's the same thing here, folks. The hardest part is getting it off the ground, and that's the key. You know, when I first got started in 2013, I decided in January that I was going to enroll 20 people over the next 30 days. And it was constantly nonstop going for it. I didn't hit my goal of 20, but by the end of that 30 days, I did have 18 people enrolled. And within a couple of months, that 18 people had grown to the point that I achieved the car bonus and that I was able to save my home. And, you know, that's what it takes, just putting your head down and just going for it. So when you come in, you've got to hit it, man. I mean, you've got to just go for it. You can't onesie and twosie this business. Most people go out and they say, well, I'm going to talk to 3 or 4 people and see what happens. And they talk 3 or 4 people. They hand out 3 or 4 business cards, and they go home and they just sit there staring at their email or staring at the telephone, waiting to see if somebody was going to their website or waiting for somebody to call them. Well, guys, that's insane. You can be a smart person, but that activity is insane. It's not going to work. One of my very first mentors in this business was Dale Johnson, and may he rest in peace. But he once told me that when he started, he made a commitment that he would not go home each day until he had shown the business presentation to at least 5 people that day. It didn't matter whether they joined or not. He just made the commitment that he would get 5 sets of eyeballs on the actual business presentation each and every day. And he went on to become a multi-million-dollar income earner in this business. And, you know, people ask me questions about, well, Keith, what percentage of people that you send to your website actually watch the video? Guys, I don't care. I just don't care. I just get as much information out there in front of as many eyeballs as I can, and that's it. I've got enough people going into the top of the funnel that there's going to be a few that fall out at the bottom of the funnel. And I don't care about the ones that are stuck in the funnel. Some people, you know, they've got decision constipation. They just can't make a decision. I mean, it's like that, you know, I refuse to try to figure that out. I'm looking for people that are looking for me. And some people say, well, Keith, I just don't see how you could have sponsored 18 people in 30 days. You know, I've been in 10 months. I haven't sponsored 18 people in 10 months. It's because I communicated. I got the story out in front of 10 to 20 times more people than what you've done. That's why. You know, if they don't show interest, I scratch them off my list. I'll call them one time and check back with them and see if they had an opportunity to visit the website and watch the video and find out what they liked best about it. And when they tell me that, they didn't have a chance to watch it, then I'll ask them, when do you think you'll have a chance? When will be a good time? You tell me when's a good time for me to follow up with you. And then when they give me a time when they'll be able to watch it again, then I make that follow-up call one more time. Hey, I just want to check back with you and see what you liked best about the video. And if they tell me they haven't had a chance to watch it, then I just tell them, I'm going to go ahead and scratch you off my list for now. And I'll get back to you sometime down the road when I've got more time. I'm gone. It's not because, I didn't pressure them. Because I didn't pressure them, I can go back to them again in the future and see if that door's open yet. You see, I've got a business to build. You have a business to build. And there's this whole thing with network marketing where we think we're supposed to beg and they're supposed to stiff arm us. You can't play that game. It's not the game. We've got a trend that's going to be $1 billion industry, with or without us. Longevity is going to $1 billion. We don't have time to sit around trying to get somebody to take a look at the greatest opportunity that they're ever going to see in their lifetime. If you don't beg, you can go back again. I hope you guys understand that. If you don't beg, you can always go back. And maybe at some future time, they'll listen to you a little bit better. Maybe something's happened in their life that's put a crack in that door. So the purpose of this training is to increase your odds for success. And I'm not going to give you little tips and little ideas and things like that. I mean, my goal is to teach a very specific system. And that's what we're going to do on the Wednesday evening call, is we're going to teach a very specific system. And that's what the difference is between learning a tip and an idea, and learning a system is going to be success. I've spent the last 4 years just getting tips and stuff and sharing tips and little ideas, but until the system was put together, and Dale Calvert sat down with me and taught me a specific system, I was just flopping around there like a fish out of water, just from one thing to the next. I think I was looking for the magic, as Dale always says, the magic foo-foo dust of what's going to work. And there's no magic foo-foo dust. It's a system that you've got to plug into, and you've got to do it. Failure is not a matter of not knowing what to do. It's a matter of not doing what you already know to do. And I'm going to, lay it all out in these trainings, and I don't want you to take it personal, but I tell you, after seeing so many people that have had so much potential and that just cannot get it off the ground and stay on the road, I'm convinced that you have to have a system. You have to follow a specific system. So just forget everything you think you know, and just follow and have a little bit of faith. That's probably the thing that blows my mind more than anything else that I've seen in this industry. It's one of the things that held me back for so long. So many good people, they don't really grasp that the fact is that it's not about them. It's about what can be duplicated. It's not what they can do specifically themselves. It's about what can be taught and duplicated to your team. This business is not about innovation. It's not about personality. It's not about me. It's not about Elvis. It's about what can be duplicated. It's a duplication business. And if you don't duplicate, you've got no team. And only systems can be duplicated. I want you to think about this. Look at McDonald's. The French fries are always on the left. Understand how profound that is? Why is it like that? Because that's the way it can be duplicated. When you go to Starbucks, they always say, "Welcome to Starbucks. What can we get started for you?" If you go to the one in Georgetown, Kentucky, "Welcome to Starbucks. What can we get started for you?" If you go to Starbucks in Atlanta, "Welcome to Starbucks. What can we get started for you?" Go to Dallas, "Welcome to Starbucks. What can we get started for you?" Can you imagine the power of network marketing if everybody in a network marketing organization worked that same way? If everybody said, "Hey, I just want to check back with you and see if you had the opportunity to watch the video and see what you liked best." We don't do that though, guys. We're all out there doing different things, so the masses come in, and you know what? everybody's confused. When everybody's confused and don't know what to do, then that's when we start looking for the magic foo-foo dust, the magic phrase, the magic thing that's going to make the phone ring off the hook. And people with the credit cards out, waiting for them to join, begging them to join. I was listening to Tim Sells the other day, and he's a network marketing success leader. I can't think of the name of the video that he put together, but he put together a video and an entire training system. He said he spent over $1 million putting the system together, and he just, he'd already had lots of success in the industry, and he just knew that his training system, people would just plug into this thing, send people to the website, and people were just going to sign up. Brilliant compensation. That was the name of the video. He was just positive that, he can send all these advertisements out there, and people will go to the system and watch his little video and immediately join the company. And he was surprised when that didn't happen. And it's because there is no magic foo-foo dust. There's no magic video or phrase or whatever that's going to just make everybody just join first time they see it. You've got to learn a specific system, specific process that you have to take people through. You've got to get people into the funnel, and you've got to keep them in the funnel until they finally come out the other end and join, or they finally come out the other end and tell you, no, there's no way they're going to do it. So that's what we want to teach in these videos and these telephone calls that we're going to do. It's just numbers, folks. It's just a process, and everybody thinks that there's some kind of magic whatever. The problem is, and this is another reason why I decided to do this, because there's a lot of people telling you that they've got that magic foo-foo dust, that money machine, magic funnel, do nothing, get rich quick. I talked to somebody just a few weeks ago. They said they spent a bunch of money on some kind of social media course telling people how to do everything with Facebook and Twitter and just sit back and let the commissions roll in. And I want to tell you what, guys, it's not true. There is no magic foo-foo dust. There's no magic put people in front of it one time and they're going to join. You're going to just sit back and collect checks. It just doesn't happen that way. So anyway, that's what we're going to cover. I want to keep this first call down to about 30 minutes. So I'm going to cut it off at this point here, but I hope you guys join me, and I want to teach everybody what it is that I'm learning from the system, the training process. That's my goal, and just go to the website to learn more about the schedule. It'll be hangout.aimhighteam.com. That's hangout.aim, A-I-M, high, H-I-G-H, team, T-E-A-M.com. And we'll post that there. Also, we'll have links to previous calls as we accumulate those. There'll be an archive there of all the calls, so you can go back and listen to it. And if there's any kind of specific book or training material of some sort that I mention on the calls, we'll also have links to those on that website. So I hope you folks join me. Let's make this the Hump Day Call every Wednesday morning. The Wednesday morning calls will be a little bit shorter. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep them down to 30 minutes. And then in the evenings, we'll get into those 8 steps. So we'll try to cover all 8 steps over just a few weeks' time. And we'll set up, we'll by the time it's all done, we'll have a process set up. We'll have a system set up for everybody that everybody can plug their new people into. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and cut this call off here. Again, I will post the recording of this call on the website, so it'll be in the archives. It'll probably be up there a little bit later today. So once again, thank you folks for getting on the call, and I look forward to speaking with everybody on the Wednesday evening training call. See you then.